It's cool, just lying here on the floor. Cold towels, my feet against the door. How long have I been in this space? Arms over eyes, help me retrace. How did I become the doormat here? Memories spinning around my head seem pretty cavalier. Little by little you take control. It's a little uncivil how your game's emotional. And I don't even notice that I'm playing your game. Do you leave me a warning thinking I'm the one to blame? From my heart has made it pretty clear. Little by little you take control. It's a little uncivil how your game's emotional. And I don't even notice that I'm playing your game. Do you leave me warning thinking I'm the one to blame?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Saturday night coverage of the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series. Race number 10 about to be underway for these drivers as we have come off an incredible week of great racing, and now the drivers here for the World Series of Sim Racing get prepared for the Roval. Tonight, an important night for them as it is the Speed Shirt Labs 100, where the winner gets a free custom shirt and plenty of points for themselves. We got some favorites on the winning column. We got drivers that are trying to figure out their point situation. As counting tonight, we've only got 2 races left in the regular season, and to give you all the coverage with you is myself, Sam Dyer, as well as Trevor Earhart here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Trevor, it's good to have you back up in the booth. More WSSR coverage.
Yeah, excited to be here. The Roval, Sam, really fun little road course here, built into that of the Charlotte Motor Speedway. So drivers have 17 corners to tackle here tonight. Not the easiest of road courses to get around, but a pretty quick one nonetheless.
Yeah, pretty quick one indeed, as the driver is averaging laps around 1:20 to 1:19, being their fastest laps they're going to be putting down, which puts them around that of Sonoma on the slower speeds of Sonoma, but still a decently quick track, as the drivers are certainly looking for that speed. Currently top of the board going to be Zach Hall, as all these drivers underway with qualifying. You've got to put down your fastest lap. You're given 2 laps to do so with 10 minutes of time. So they got plenty of time to get the laps in, but who can maximize those laps is going to be a true question, with Zach Hall already there with a 1:20.46 lap time.
Zach Hall looking pretty good. Brian Johnson, though, just goes top of the board as we're watching Christopher Norris work his way through the backstretch chicane. Johnson with a 1:19.8, so really good lap time from the 28 machine. Vincent Sword down in 5th position after his first lap was a 1:20.8. He was the quickest car in practice, so definitely going to have to find a little bit more speed for that 15 machine to back up his practice time.
And this is going to be our second road course of the season. And Vincent Sword, one of the major favorites in our first road course at Twin Ring Motegi's GP course, as Christopher Norris struggling out of the last chicane. Going to come to a stop as he knows he's on camera showing off his scheme. But a couple of drivers thinking back to that GP course back at Twin Ring. Trevor, a race like tonight, certainly for some, it could be a rebound after a road course. Some coming in as specialists, others just trying to survive.
Yeah, road course racing it's kind of like what it is in real life. You have drivers that are really good at it. Some drivers that show up just basically for the road courses because it's their favorite thing to do, and other drivers, like you said, are just in survival mode, want to get in, get out with the best results they can, and especially Sam being only having one more race till we get to the chase style format that they are going to run for their playoff system. Definitely important for these drivers to come in and try to get as many points as they can to stay in that 16th position in points.
A couple of very fast drivers not able to get their second time to count. That's a big thing, Trevor, on qualifying, is for some drivers getting over the incident points. Some drivers deciding to go off track for some of these laps, which is invalidating their times. For Brian P. Johnson, luckily for his lap, his first one was fast enough to keep him in first, but his second lap not going to count. For Zach Hall, who's trying to look for redemption after his first lap of qualifying, not able to do so. He'll finish in 4th currently. And Christopher Norris, we saw his spin on camera, his second lap will not count, as here's Kaufman looking for a good run in the 25 machine. James Kaufman, one of the drivers that's just on the cusp of finding himself being bounced out of the playoffs the last couple of weeks. And after missing a couple of these races, having some poor finishes, I think he might be a little bit too far out. So for these races, for the rest of the season, it's more of a just get what you can and take the momentum into next season.
Yeah, Kaufman, I believe, comes in. I was doing some quick math on some of these drivers around Jonathan Cogswell, who sits 16th in points. I think Kaufman's about 18 points behind him. So needing a pretty good run here this week and next week at USA Speedway to get into the chase system for these guys. And it's going to start here, Sam, as he comes into that final chicane at a turn number 4 right before the start-finish line to complete what I believe is going to be his second lap here. And doesn't really improve much, but does get both laps in, sitting 15th for that 25 machine.
That's going to be a big thing for these drivers to keep their eye on for qualifying, but incident points, not going to be a worry once we get to actual racing, where the drivers will have 40 laps of actual laps they need to put in. There will be no full course yellow unless we have a major issue on turn 1, on lap 1. I think that'd be the only time we're going to be seeing a yellow flag be thrown. Otherwise, we should be seeing this race go clean and green, just like how we did back at Motegi. Is on screen, the 91, and Mark Morales came in racing last week, decided to come back to race again. It's good to see the 91 after missing the majority of the season, but having a major issue on the backstretch, one of the toughest spots of this track.
Yeah, really hard to get the car slowed up for that backstretch chicane, and right there, Martin just a little bit too much curb on the inside, kind of upset the car a little bit, carried him straight into that wall, and that's those incident points, Sam, that you were talking about that can cost you your lap time counting, but along with that, the heavy damage or heavy contact with the wall right there also not helping Martin there as he resets and see if he can go back out there. I don't think he's going to have enough time to go back out there and attempt another lap though.
I don't believe so either, as we've got 1 minute and 40 seconds left, and Martin at least got 1 lap in. It's going to be good enough for 12th at this current time. Looking at drivers, and it looks like no one is out on track, which gives us plenty of time to shout out some amazing sponsors that the World Series of Sim Racing has gotten. The title sponsor for WSSR is Roasted Gems Coffee. Roasted Gems Coffee, the title sponsor of WSSR, offers great quality coffee that gives you your wake up for the day. Make sure you start your day off right with Roasted Gems Coffee. Go to roastedgems.com and use the promo code WSSR for 5% off. And as well, got to give a huge shout out to Trophy Smack. Hey, if you want to show off your glory, go on head over to Trophy Smack. If you're winning this fantasy football, or if you're winning some races out on track, go get yourself a championship belt, ring, or just trophy that's all customizable. And even the WSSR, for the champion of the season and the past 2 seasons, they've got a customizable ring from Trophy Smack. So go over to TrophySmack.com and use our promo code WSSR Cup for that of 10% off on all purchases. Thank you to Roasted Gems Coffee and Trophy Smack. Trevor, coming up, ready to get racing here. 40 laps for these drivers. No stage break, no required damage. But the interesting thing, tires. We were talking about it before we went live. To take them or to not is going to be a major thing when we come to pit road and green flag pit stops.
Yeah, it's a highly contested debate on the next gen car. If you take tires at road courses, a lot of guys will tell you that cold tires are not worth it. The fall off is there now. There's a little bit of tire fall off, but going on to cold tires is not the greatest thing. So I think you're going to see a little bit of a split here tonight with the top half of the field maybe not taking tires and the back half of the field taking tires. So it's going to be interesting to see when we get to that green flag pit stop what these drivers elect to do.
Well, let's see where these drivers are going to start out. Up front, it's going to be Brian P. Johnson in the 28, taking that pole award. Ryan Bird going to be in second. Vincent Sora, the heavy favorite, going to be in third. Not the qualifying run he wanted, but at least he's close enough to tackle up front. Zach Hall going to be in fourth. Fifth's going to be Tom Sinchak. Cedric Hunter in sixth. Larry Yingling seventh. Eighth goes to Christopher Norris. Ninth goes to the sponsor of our starting grid, Kali's mom. Kali didn't get the pole, disappointing his mom, but at least he's in the top 10. The one got a lot of work to get done. He's going to be in 9th place. 10th going to be Aaron Kralik. Trevor, the rest of the top 20 to you.
Ryan Crowfoot will roll off in 11th with Martin Morales in 12th. James Vining will roll off 13th with Corey Innes in 14th. James Kaufman 15th. Richard Wolselfer will roll off in 16th. Rich Jamison 17th. Kyle Rochelle 18th. Tyler Dangler 19th. And Thomas Walter will round out our top 20 drivers.
Then in 21st, going to see Thomas Walter, Bob Skinner in 22nd, Jonathan Cogswell in 23rd, and James Hackworth Jr. in 24th. Those bottom 4, interesting things. Those are the drivers that are right on the cusp. James Hackworth Jr., 15th in points. 16th in points is that of Jonathan Cogswell. Bob Skinner is 17th in points, and 18th in points is Thomas Walter. All 4 of those drivers needing good days, but if they're going to be running this close, the advantage goes to that of Bob Skinner, of James Hackworth Jr. and Jonathan Cogswell, as they're in 15th and 16th in points. The closer you are to the other competitors, it means they're not gaining much on you in these future races.
Yeah, that one of them needs to find a little bit of pace and try to pull away and see if they can get a little bit more points on on the guys around them. But you know, 40 laps, Sam, 17 corners. That's a lot of time. Easy for drivers to make mistakes around here, as this isn't necessarily an easy track to navigate around. So anything is possible for these guys. But it's all going to start in turn 1 when we get the green flag.
That it will, and hey, why not talk to one of those drivers that's looking for a good run? And one of those going to be Bob Skinner, and we'll see if we can ring him up and get his thoughts as the drivers pace around the Roval and get ready for this race. 82 of Bob Skinner, you got us?
Yes, I do.
It's Sam and Trevor up in the booth. You come into this race 17th in points, one of the bigger movers, of the drivers from last week to this week. How are you feeling coming into tonight with the fact that you're just outside of the playoffs?
I just figured take it easy and the rest should fall into place. If I can stay out of trouble, I'll have a good night if the ladder happens. And it was going to be rough, so just going to take it easy and see what we can do here.
I mean, Bob, going into this race, obviously, like you said, you're going to take it easy. But I mean, is there any tricks that you learned through practice to help you get around this track here tonight?
More of the couple corners to watch for. Going into those chicanes, carrying all that speed, it can be rough. So if I can watch my brake marker stuff, maybe we can have a good night.
We hope for a good night for you, Bob. We'll let you focus for the second half of this race under pacing, but good luck here tonight.
Thanks, fellas. Appreciate it.
Well, that is going to be Bob Skinner in the 82 machine. Again, starting in the back half of the field, Trevor, certainly I liked what I was hearing from the 82. Sounded confident, but understanding the situation.
Yeah, it definitely sounds confident and kind of a good approach to it when you're starting that far back. Just let things happen in front of you. Take what you can get. Don't be overly aggressive and put yourself in a situation that can see you, getting damage, getting totaling damage early on and taking you out of this. So I expect to see him move up through the field slowly, but not taking any risks early on here.
As that of Bob Skinner repping the Speed Shirt Labs all over that scheme, and one of the more colorful and electric schemes out there on track. Love to see the 82. I think I got to say, for a lot of these drivers, we've talked about schemes. I know with it being a road course, we can get into those lull periods. The most intense point of this race might be right here, right now. The first 2 laps on how you can break away, not get caught up in other people's situations. It's the most important thing. And for that Brian P. Johnson, Ryan Bird, Vincent Sora, and others, it's time to see how smooth to get out front and pull away from your contenders, because the pace car is off and the Speed Shirt Labs 100 for race number 10 of the season is about to get underway as they go through the last chicane and down into the Geico restart zone. We're green here at the Roval.
It's a good start there from Brian Johnson. Has the advantage as the leader getting through that last chicane into the Tums Hartburn turn.
Oh no,
Brian
Johnson dumps it, not able to get onto the brakes and throws it away. Vincent Sora dashes into first. Ryan Bird going to be slotting himself into second. And Brian P. Johnson, heavy damage, and drivers trying to avoid him. And from the pole, back to almost last, showing what the Roval is showing all night long. We talked about it being intense. Who knew it was going to be the leader that blows up his car?
Shades of Chase Elliott there, Sam, and that's a broken tolling for Brian Johnson as well. I mean, he's got the dreaded meatball flag that he's going to have to bring that 28 machine down pit road, get that damage fixed. The 25 of James Kaufman had a little bit of a spin as well. But just like that, I mean, we didn't even get all the way through turn 1, and our leader's already out of this race.
Already done, dusted, and into last place as he's still trying to limp to pit road. Up front, Vincent Sora, Ryan Bird looking good, but it's Tom Sinjek missing completely the backstretch chicane as he's going to fall behind and find himself with a yield sign. Yield black flag is going to be very crucial on who loses time a lot, as another late Apex driver losing ground. That's Kyle Rochelle, who has to come to a complete halt because he missed the backstretch chicane as well.
Yeah, easy to do, especially on cold tires, cold brakes, with the amount of speed you're carrying to miss those chicanes, the backstretch chicane. And there's another one, Sam, missing the front stretch chicane as well. And those slowdown penalties, they can vary on time depending on how much you gain. So we will see drivers throughout the night having to stop somewhere on track that's safe to let that time by. And damage for, I believe that's the 56 of Wolfsburg missing a front bumper behind the 91 of Martin Morales.
And that was after just slight contact that he had to the wall. The new damage model that these drivers have been dealing with as a 56 touches the grass and into the inside wall. And Richard Wolfsburg, this is a nagging frustration the 56 has had as, in front of him, Thomas Walters drifting around the corners as it is everyone. It's just everywhere around this track, drivers slipping and sliding, and now the 04 has to get himself rolling. But for Richard Wolfsburg, he just simply grazed the wall here where the 04 is about to be running by, and it knocked off the front bumper, but it didn't really do any, it looks more visual damage than it was external damage to the 56.
Yeah, the new damage model, it's interesting. I mean, there's times where you barely brush the wall and something breaks, the front bumper flies off, and there's other times, some experience that I've had this week just running at Talladega where you get in a massive crash and everything's fine. So it's so touchy sometimes, but already seeing the effects of it on a couple of cars just 3 laps into this race.
And our front runner is trying to settle in some fashion. The 13 is Cedric Hunter in 4th place, says he's trying to set up to make a pass on his teammate of Zach Hall. Hall just running in their own pacing, this front pack, trying to just gap themselves from the rest of the field. I mean, if you look at the ticker board, already gapped out as Vincent Sora by over 1.5 seconds to second place, but other drivers just running their own race as Christopher Norris in his own pack in 5th place. Brandon Colley, one of our bigger movers so far this race, up 3 positions right behind him.
Yeah, Norris just kind of found that clean air gap behind Cedric Hunter in front of Brandon Colley, so just trying to run around, click off some laps, see what happens. Brandon Colley moved up, qualified 9th up to that of 6th position now as he's been able to get around a couple of drivers and trying to chase down this 38 machine as they head down the back straightaway into this backstretch chicane. Norris gets through it pretty clean. Looks like the 1 of Colley gets through clean. Everybody behind him through there pretty well. And now it's the drive off through 3 and 4 into the front stretch chicane.
And the drive down to the front stretch chicane, really an interesting one because drivers have learned different ways to excel at hitting this corner. Some drivers have learned actually utilizing the AstroTurf that's on the front stretch can give you a little bit of assistance. So you might see some drivers decide to go on the grass on the front stretch, but that's the only safe, you could say, quote-unquote, grass you can touch of the whole entire course.
Yeah, it's really weird how it's kind of modeled into the sim. You'll notice it when we come back around at some point. It's a little bit darker stretch of green in front of the actual infield grass, and it actually kind of is modeled like the asphalt is. So you can use it to drive on, use it as a braking line. It doesn't break the car loose. So you'll see drivers dip the left side tires into that, going into that braking zone to help give them a little bit wider of an entry into that chicane.
As Brandon Colley trying to catch up to Christopher Norris on to NASCAR turn 1, which would be turn 9 for these drivers through NASCAR turn 10, being passed by Tom Sinchak, he missed the backstretch chicane on lap 1 and lost a lot of ground over 4 positions. But he's almost caught everything back up as he's just 1 spot back from where he qualified with an easy move for himself. But as we're right on with the 1, we're about to see exactly what we were talking about with the front stretch, and Trevor, you can a lot more high point where it's at.
Yeah, right here, diving down, you see this dark little strip of green right there. That is that AstroTurf that you see Colley barely get into there. Helps him kind of get that nice smooth entry into that right-hander. It gives him a little bit wider exit out of the left-hander. He can carry a little bit more speed down the front stretch into turn number 1. A really good drive there into 1, good exit out of 1 through turn 2 and 3 here. So, but yeah, that little strip, Sam, that hey, every driver finds an advantage in that. That's a spot that a lot of drivers like to utilize as a braking point and a way to get through that chicane.
Maximize in any way you can possible, as there's no incident points, so you can go off track anytime you would like. And the 02 here on screen, Ryan Crowfoot. You might have seen him on Monday nights for the ISRC Truck Series, dipping his toes in the Next Gen Cup car. And it's great to see these drivers kind of bouncing back and forth. We saw it a lot also last week with Cody Reed coming to race at Talladega, and other drivers. Has been hearing rumors, a lot of drivers thinking about coming and testing out WSSR for the future seasons, just to get a test of what it's like to race with this high-tier competition. And some of the drivers that haven't been here for a while, here's 33 of James Vining.
Yeah, Vining, haven't seen him in a little bit, having himself a a quiet little start to his evening. 6 laps into the race, already up to that of 10th position, so up 3 spots from where he qualified. So having a good run for that 33 machine here early on.
Very good to see him trying to make his moves. Here's some drivers testing different styles. Larry Yingling missing out on the starting. Oh no, actually issues we're about to see here with drivers coming to the turn 1. It's Ryan Crowfoot doing a little bit of Chase Elliott testing as well as he bends it right into the Tums wall. As 0-2 gets running, as go back to the drivers we were just going to talk on, Larry Yingling, Rich Jameson. Larry Yingling decided to start on pit road for the 67, and Rich Jameson, if you haven't checked it out, just coming out today was episode 3 of the Cool Down Lapper podcast, getting to talk with the drivers, get a little bit more in depth with them. Rich Jameson had a great conversation with Robert Moyer Jr. and is right now seeing the 86 trying to hold on as he's got one of the best in WSSR right behind him.
Trying to hold on as they exit onto NASCAR 1 and 2. Gets up a little bit, maybe gotten into the wall there just a tad bit for Jameson, and that's going to allow the 67 to go on by here as they head out of NASCAR turn 2 down the back straightaway to the hairpin, and Larry pulling away a little bit as he gets loaded up here to the entry of the left-hander. A lot of curb usage from that 67 machine. A little bit smoother of an entry as Crowfoot missed the backstretch chicane right there in front of the 67. Saw him go flying through there, so the 0-2 going to have another slowdown penalty as it looks like he's going to pull off and maybe come down pit road.
I think it's a complete just give up and send. He's got required damage, knew he wasn't going to make it, and decided, you know, I'm going to go to pit road as fast as I can instead of worrying about anyone else's well-being. That was a very scary situation, but luckily everyone made it through, as here's the 7 of Corey Ennis, who's running back at 13th position, up 1 spot for himself in the 7 in no man's land, which for some drivers is exactly where they want to be. They can just focus on racing the track and not the competition around them, as Corey joined in the middle of the season and it's been having a quiet season, but it's always good to see these drivers that are more so trying to learn, get better, and develop. And I think that's where we're seeing the 7 right here tonight.
Yeah, and this is a perfect spot for him to be just kind of by himself. You see Martin Morales there off into the grass trying to get back on the racetrack, but just in a spot where he can just click away the laps, learn how to get through here, and not have to worry about maybe holding somebody up or drivers having issues in front of them. Though I think, Sam, from what we've seen so far already, I think you're going to have to worry about drivers having issues in front of you, because we've seen cars all over this racetrack already.
And one of the best battles right now on track would be in 6th place. That of seeing Tom Senchak trying to move up to 5th to crack the top 10. The 8 has been on the move, and he's been slowly chipping away at catching up to Christopher Norris. And I know Christopher Norris is a great road course driver. We've seen him grow and develop these last couple of years for the 38. And now we'll see how well he can defend with the 8 machine closing in, as they've got that of Crowfoot, who's got his damage repaired, is back out on track right in front of them.
Yeah, Crowfoot, I think, had a little bit, maybe a bent toe link from when he got into the Tom's Burn turn there in turn number 1. So probably just a 30-second repair for him to get that toe link straightened back out, get him back out on track. But this could hold up the 38 just a little bit, give Tom Sinchek a chance to attack, especially down here into the hairpin. Norris going to go low, Sinchek going to go low. Looks like Crowfoot's going to stay up out of the way of this battle. But we'll wait and see what happens here. Sinchek still tries to chase down this 38 machine. I think he might catch Crowfoot in a bad spot here going into the chicane.
And he is. Both drivers going to have to slow down. Going to give spacing for that of Tom Sinchak. Trying to get by lap traffic and able to get the better run out is Christopher Norris, with not having a driver right in front of him. And Christopher Norris trying to just defend at this point. Crazy thing, we are 9 laps into this race, and already the gap to the leader for Norris, 13.5 seconds, just showing how dominant Vincent Sora is looking here tonight, as the 8 and others trying their best to make some passes around the field.
Yeah, I missed the Twin Ring GP race and didn't get a call that one with you, but going back and having watched some of that, I mean, Vincent Sora just looked so dominant there until he got caught up with some lap traffic. And I mean, that's part of road course racing. We saw it right there with Tom Sinchek and Christopher Norris just catching lap cars at a bad time, and things can happen to you. So there's real no safe spot on a road course, Sam. When you're out there driving, you just kind of hope that you can get through traffic the best you can. So we'll see as this race continues if something happens to our race leaders that might close that gap back up there.
Some drivers are having some issues for themselves. More drivers getting required damage flags. James Kaufman entering pit road as we're right on board with that of Ryan Bird. You can see that little dot ahead of him. That's Christopher Norris, keeping within a second and a half the distance. And for Ryan Bird, the question's going to be for when you come into pit road, do you pit earlier or later in the run based off of fuel? We know that at least they got to get to lap 20. Question is there enough spacing for them to go even further than that or pit sooner on all the different advantages and disadvantages of having that medium pit stop directly at halfway or trying a little bit of different strategy?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting as it looks like the 01 of Aaron Kralik might already be on pit road, and he is. Not sure if he has any required damage.
Looks like he's got some front end damage that he's doing.
But no required. So this is interesting from Aaron to come down pit road. But yeah, Sam, the pit strategy could be interesting. Do you try the undercut, the overcut? You know, do you stay out later than the leaders? Do you come in a little bit earlier? And then the question is, it still going to be tires? Do you take 2 tires, fuel only, 4 tires? I mean, that's going to be what happened. Well, what's going to be interesting, it looks like Aaron just fuel only and back out on the racetrack in that 01 Tide machine.
And there was almost disaster for Vincent Sora for another road course. Kyle Rochelle trying to mimic Ryan Crowfoot by blasting through the backstretch chicane and almost plowing right into our leader. And luckily there was no contact, but very scary situations where it seems like drivers get required damage in the middle of the track. Once they hit the backstretch, because some of them are getting broken toe lengths, they are completely give up on going through that chicane. And I think that for some of them, they might forget, hey, I might not have to brake, but the driver in front of me too. In some scary spots as we look at, I know for our producer, one of his favorite schemes to look at is the 19 of Tyler Dangler in his Ford Mustang machine, trying to see the Shelby Viper Fangs as he is having his fun out there in the red.
Yeah, and a couple of excursions Tyler's already had here tonight, but it looks like he's got that 19 machine back under control and actually up 7 spots, Sam, from where he started, even with the couple of off-track excursions he's had, up to 12th position here for Tyler. So having a great run for himself as he closes in on the 25 of Kaufman, who has a little bit of an issue in front of him and a huge lockup, but Tyler keeps it off the back of that 25 machine. But more trouble for drivers as drivers struggling, kind of getting in the way just a little bit.
And he continues to grow as the list of drivers that are getting required damage, it might be shorter to look at the list of drivers that haven't gotten required damage at this point. As James Hackworth Jr. now going to be forced into pit road, joining Kyle Rochelle that have gotten into trouble. As you see the 23 on the apron, trying to get out of everyone else's way. And this is exactly, if you're one of the drivers like Bob Skinner or Thomas Walter, if Walter wasn't having an upsetting day, you're looking at, for James Hackworth Jr. or for that of Jonathan Cogswell to have some faults. They haven't so far. Right now, we look at that of Cogswell, who right now of those 4 drivers that we gave note on that were at the bubble point, he's running the best out of all 4.
Yeah, just running his race and right there in 14th. Bob Skinner right behind him in 15th position. So both of those drivers just, quietly working their way through the field, and like Bob said, wasn't going to be aggressive, was going to let things come to him, and up 6 spots from where he started. Cogswell, on the other hand, up 8 spots from where he started. Both those drivers starting in the back of the field and just going about it at their own pace. So kind of 2 different, same driving style, but kind of a different take on it from other drivers that we've seen here tonight.
Well, it's going to be a settle in and see how it runs. As we're going to take our first commercial break of the evening. When we come back, talking strategy, who's coming into pit road, who might not be coming into pit road, as you're watching the World Series of Sim Racing, Roast Gems Cup Series. This is race number 10 of the regular season for that of the Speed Shirt Labs 100. Thanks for joining with us on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We'll be back right after this.
started the best. You got him 4 abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws. World of Outlaws Dirt Racing will be available September 27th. Pre-order your copy today.
I think I watched Josh 3 or 4 times before I ran the car. He killed them every race, and it was like stout fields, like good cars, big races, and I mean, he was unbeatable. And I was like, oh man, this is, like, I'm nervous. I was so nervous getting into the car full time this year after watching Josh win 3 or 4 races straight. These cars, they have a lot of horsepower now. They have over 500, and I think 5 years ago they didn't have 450. They're gonna be a handful to drive, but just don't overdrive them. Let the car do the work.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's Martin Morales off track and into the wall as he was trying to give space for Christopher Norris, but maybe junked himself. Here's a pass for position as 91 sits for the field to drive on by. Finally says, all right, it's time to go, as troublesome spots have been shown throughout tonight. We've seen the top dogs and we've seen those that have been throughout the field having their troubles here at the Roval. One of the more difficult road courses these drivers get to, and showing exactly why. Anywhere on this track, you could be flying off course, getting into the wall, and man, certainly a lot of trouble, as Roasted Gems Coffee is the title sponsor. We're going to go through our sponsors once again as we've got time for it. You see the Roasted Gems machine on screen. That's Cedric Hunter in 4th place. But if you'd like to get yourself some premium coffee today, well, go on over to roastedgems.com and go get yourself some great premium coffee. They got a great selection, wide range, and they continue evolving on getting different flavors out almost every 2 to 3 months. Feels like there's a new flavor. I think most recently they've got a max caffeine flavor to go get. So go get your Roasted Gems coffee today using the promo code WSSR for 5% off. And as well, back it on track, it's the Trophy Smack driver of Brian P. Johnson out there on course, and he's back out on track. But Trevor, I'd say he might be the award winner of our wall smack of the race with how hard he hit the wall at the start. Lap 1, turn 1, junks it up, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't want a wall smack of this, but if you'd like to get a wall smack of high moments, low moments, well, go get yours today at Trophy Smack. What is a wall smack, you might be asking? Well, it's a high gloss stainless steel work of art where you can pick your either a meme, company logo, or a picture to have mounted on the wall. And guess what? Trophy Smack's got a patented great that of a magnet wall safe mounting system that you yourself can just place on your wall, slap the wall smack there, and boom, you've got yourself some great works of art, and it won't be hard on the bank. It's pretty reasonable to get. And thank you to Trophy Smack today for being one of our major sponsors here at WSSR. And Trevor, 28th back on track. That was something we were touching on, and 8 laps down, but his race isn't over. If somehow he finds some good speed, he could catch up to Kyle Rochelle, who's also 8 laps down right now.
Yeah, there's a couple drivers that he could get by out there. Well, at least one he's already got by, Richard Wilson, who's already called it a night here tonight. But can catch up to Kyle Rochelle. But Sam, I don't think Brian Johnson was hoping to win the wall smack of the race moment by absolutely smacking turn one, the turn 1 wall lap 1. But kind of fitting that he would get bestowed that honor, given that he is the Trophy Smack car here tonight.
I mean, usually he's getting out of the Trophy Smack, winning moment of the race. Throw it away. He's just going to get the wall smack wreck of the race here tonight. Big thanks to everyone that's watching here this evening on your Saturday evening, as seeing the drivers getting to test their skills at the Roval. As we're closing in on halfway, that means it's time for us to start talking about strategy. Who's going to come into pit road and when? I know, Trevor, we might not have the numbers exactly on when we're expecting these drivers coming into pit road, but do we have an estimate on when we think these drivers could be thinking about making their pit stops?
Sam, I don't have a good estimate right now on when I think they might come in. We've already seen Aaron Kralik come down pit road for, I believe, what would be his one and only pit stop of the race. But I mean, he did that back at lap 9. So I would say anywhere after lap 20 and on for drivers just coming in to take some fuel and get back out there. Maybe drivers trying to take it as long as they can so they can put as little fuel as possible into the car so they don't have to spend as much time on pit road.
Now, the window we were given by that of the commentators, big shout outs to them, was 34 to 36. But the question on top of that is, do you think about making these stops sooner? Like Aaron did. Aaron made this pit stop so soon that now he's going to be trapped in traffic trying to get by drivers and working his way forward throughout this race, while other drivers, they could try to march it out until that lap 30, 34 marker and then make their stops and think, oh, that's it, that's where I want to be. Who knows? How will you think about setting yourself up for the end of this race? We'll find out as 0-1 trying to get by the 7 of that of Corey Ennis, as that of Hackworth Jr. in the grass, trying to just get out of the way.
Yeah, you saw James there just get a little bit wide coming out of that double right-hander there, got into the grass, gets into the wall, but gets it back on track. No, doesn't look like any required damage for the 23 machine, but just another little excursion there for a driver. There's the 01 of Aaron Kralik on your screen as he gets onto the banking of NASCAR turn 1. And Aaron did it the kind of the backwards pit strategy. Came in once he felt like he could make it to the end on fuel, brought that 01 down pit road when the tires were still fairly new, so he could get back out there and see what he could do to run guys down as he's in heavy traffic. Got Corey Ennis in front of him, the 86 of I'm sorry, this 02 of Crowfoot that's in front of them that's getting out of the way, but he's caught the 7 of Corey Ennis, whereas other drivers say I'm going to run it as long as they can to that 34, 35 lap mark and then come down pit road.
I mean, so many different thinking points on it. Other drivers have already come into pit road, but we have seen drivers call it a night already here this evening. Richard Wilsifer, first driver to call a night early. James Vining just called it a night a few laps ago. And a few other drivers into pit road for extended times as they're trying to get back out on track. Mark Morales Jr., who we've seen have some bad runs, he's in pit road trying to get repairs done for himself. As we see here at 42, Zach Hall, winner from last week at Talladega. Well, tonight it's more of a find yourself out on track by yourself. as he's kind of in no man's land. Cedric Hunter was trying to keep up, but the 42 is pulled away, and now being in the definitive third place position.
Yeah, he's got about that of 4 seconds back to Cedric Hunter. With the issue, though, 10 seconds to that of Ryan Bird and about 14 seconds to Vincent Soros. So Zach has got that nice podium position in third place locked up right now, provided he doesn't make any pit road mistakes. Thinking back to last season, Sam, when we were at Coda and had a chance to run really well there and had a pit road speeding penalty. So for that 42 machine, when he does make that pit stop, looking to not make any mistakes once that pit stop comes around.
Yeah, and he's trying to get by Kyle Rochelle, who just came to a complete halt in front of the 42 as he was trying to make that chicane on the back stretch. And Zach Hall, it looks like he might finally get that opening to make the pass. So coming down into the front stretch, this is where we find Ryan Bird. And Ryan Bird already into turn one at this point, then 11 seconds back after being held up. Zach Hall, he finally hits turn one now. So a huge gap on the drivers as we're seeing them on screen as the 49 getting by Ryan Crowfoot, who's been really struggling this evening. Hate to see that for a debut of the 02, but I'm excited to see what Ryan Crowfoot's going to have for future races at the more traditional oval tracks, as these road courses for some drivers, not their best form of racing, as Christopher Norris getting to have fun with lap down driver Jonathan Cogswell as Cogswell gets out of the way. And Trevor, something I haven't touched on yet, but I want your thoughts on it. We are past halfway on lap 22. Vincent Soros has already lapped over half the field. We're down to just 9 drivers on the lead lap.
I would say I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised, Sam. With how quick this track is, with drivers. I mean, Vincent Soros still running around here at about a 120.8 was his last lap, so he's been consistently in the 120s. Looking at some of the other lap times, I mean, everybody's dropped off outside of Larry Yingling down there in 8th. Everybody behind them running 123, 124, 125s. So it's possible at the pace that Vincent's on. I mean, we could see that of about 6 to 8 cars left on the lead lap by the time this race is over.
Wild things to say and see, but as you've been watching on our ticker board, it has been changing up on who's on the lead lap or not, as Christopher Norris runs in 6th place, trying to catch up to Tom Sinchek, who's already gapped himself from the 38 machine by 5 seconds. And closest battles on track going to be that of battling going on for 11th position. So that is where we find Corey Ennis, Tyler Dengler, and Jonathan Cogswell. Group of 3 on top of one another. Excuse me, that's going to be Tyler Dengler and Corey Ennis just on top of one another, as they're also being passed by second place runner Ryan Bird, as Bird gives a little bit of an opening and breather for Ennis, as Tyler Dengler trying to set up, and it forces Corey to go through the chicane, and that's the opening Tyler Dengler needed, as the 19 pulls away to take that of 11th position.
Yeah, it looked like Corey was going to get away from the 19 there just a little bit with where Ryan Bird was. He was going to be in between those two, but Corey just couldn't get the car slowed down there for that backstretch chicane, had to drive through it. You saw him come to a nice safe stop there right before the end of the chicane, so doing a really good job finding a safe spot to get that car stopped and give back that time that he gained, but that allows the 19 of Tyler Dengler to get that position, and then in doing so gain about that of 5 to 6 seconds on the 7 machine of Corey Ennis.
And Corey Ennis, he's going to have to try to rebound in some fashion, as Tyler Dengler now trying to set up to get by the 01 of Aaron Kralik. Kralik's already made his pit stop. Again, we noted on that, pitting around lap 9, and that's around the window where he should be able to make it to the end. But his 19 is slowly been moving forward and could be a big threat to try to close in even the 9th place at the pace that he's running.
Yeah, Tyler, I mean, he's having a good run, Sam. Up 8 spots to be right now tied with the biggest mover of the race with a couple of other drivers. Rich Jameson's up 8 spots up there in 9th. Bob Skinner, Cogswell, both up 8 spots. So all of those drivers having great runs getting through the field as Tyler continues to close in on this 01 of Aaron Kralik. And I'm not sure if Kralik, if Tyler catches him, might just let him go, knowing that the 19 still has to make a pit stop, or if Aaron's going to put up a fight as they go in here to the front stretch chicane, as the 19 continues to close in just little by little. Aaron takes a lot of inside curb. Tyler takes a lot of curb on the exit of the corner, but both get through that final corner.
Really seems like watching these two drivers, it's more so on Aaron. If he's going to make a mistake, that's what gives the 19th positioning that he needs. Otherwise, Tyler is running pretty similar lap times as that of Kralik, and I know Tyler puts a lot of time into the sim trying to find ways to get faster every single week that he can, and right now the 19 doing his best to get by the 0-1. This is for 10th position, and with this close racing action, some drivers making some pit stop strategy calls as the first driver in our top 10 to come into pit road besides Aaron Kralik. Going to be that of Brandon Colley in the 1 machine. Joining him, also going to be the 7 of Corey Ennis. Corey Ennis, I think this might be an unscheduled stop for the 7 machine, but for Kralik, unfortunate circumstance, he gets caught with a black flag. He's holding there for 40 seconds.
It's unfortunate there for Brandon Colley, speeding on pit entry, and that's the mistakes that you can't have trying to, keep track position and maybe gain a little bit with your pit strategy. Now you're going to have to hold there for 40 seconds. Going to lose a lot of time to everybody around him, especially when you were just coming in for fuel only. But, Sam, that week in, week out, we harp on it every week. You cannot make these mistakes. And again, here, another week, another mistake on pit road.
And it's something where I feel like when we're at the oval, traditional ovals, and running just that and not at road courses, it's a lot more easier, I would say, to hit your pit board markers and come in without speeding. So it's not really a big factor we think about, but it is something that is possible to happen, like shown by Brandon Colley, who is now back out on course, and he's going to be mired back in 11th position for the 1. He was looking to be, if that didn't happen, he was going to be around 9th to 8th place based off his pit stop. That penalty crucial, as see here, 5th place runner Tom Senchak, the 8 machine, just trying to catch up as he is trying to find speed to catch up to the 13 Cedric Hunter, and right now running faster than the 13 machine, and I think at this rate, he could catch up to Cedric with 15 laps to go here tonight.
Yeah, he could run about that of 3 to 4 tenths quicker than that of Cedric Hunter. And Tom with a great recovery. We saw him miss the backstretch chicane there on lap 1, gave up a bunch of spots from where he qualified in 5th, dropped, I think, all the way back down to 8th or 9th, Sam. Drove his way back up to that 5th position and trying to run down the 13 Roasted Jim's coffee machine. Is Cedric going through 3 and 4 right now? Sinchek just getting out of that backstretch chicane, entering turn number 3, but that gap closing in ever so slowly, and pit stops could help close that gap even more.
Very much could do so. The 1 of Colley lapped down, trying to find his way by the 13 if possible. Drivers, majority of them have come into pit road deciding just to take fuel only. There have been a few that have decided to take tires, but they're deeper in the field because they're drivers that have been struggling. I think that's a smarter call if you're one of those drivers deeper in the field, because you've really had those slides, off-track incidences, and have put actual wear and tear on your tires compared to those that have just been running their own laps, and it's a lot more on the heat factor that's hurting them. As Larry Yingling, 67, 7th position, and what an impressive feat for himself. Decided to start on pit road, got to see all the drama that spilled out, and had to avoid some of the carnage as he was making his way through the field.
Yeah, just I don't know if he got disconnected, Sam, or just chose to start on pit road there, but nonetheless got through all the carnage in the first 3 laps of the race, up back to 7th position, which I believe is where he originally qualified. But for Larry, just another solid top 10 run for that 67 machine, keeping it out of trouble, and just seeing what he can get as he tries to close out. I believe Christopher Norris is the driver in front of him in 6th, but I think it's about a 4-second gap between those two as he tries to run down that 38 machine.
Trying to run down the 38 machine as he is running quite well. Other battles on track for 12th already been done. Thomas Walter able to get by Jonathan Cogswell, which for Thomas Walter, very important pass because Jonathan Cogswell has not pitted yet. So the 0-4 hoping to gain as many positions as possible to make sure that he can try to be in the best position to go for the final playoff position going into next week. USA Speedway, I don't know what to even expect, Trevor. A short track where usually you see that of the street stocks or late models go to. We're taking the next gen cup cars to a short track where We've seen it in the past for the WSSR. They're willing to, try different tracks and combos. And I think next week might be the most intriguing one that I have for myself to see who will perform.
Yeah, that one's going to be a very, very interesting race to call, Sam. I think we're really going to test the limits of this new damage model in the next gen car next week when we get there. But it could be really good race, the cutoff race to get into the chase. And based off of where some drivers are running, it could be a very crucial race for drivers like Cogswell, Skinner, and Thomas Walter when we get to USA Speedway next Saturday night.
Next Saturday, very important. And for us, this is going to be probably our last time to do it. We're going to take our final commercial break of the evening, as we will be giving you the rest of the coverage when drivers make their final pit stops and how this run will conclude, as we're going to go side by side once again as you're watching the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series at the Speed Shirt Laps 100 here at the Charlotte Oval. We'll be back in just a few moments. They're splitting, and it's a complete mayhem.
We have a wreck at the front. 19 goes down into the 7, takes out the double zero.
They're 5 wide behind for fifth. Oh my, the 5 wide here, this ain't gonna work, is it? They're already wrecking into turn 1, and now coming through that of turn 2. This is it, the Daytona. Oh no, the wrecking contact. Sets gets into the wall. Gonna be scattering on the outside. Drivers on the apron. Drivers coming out of nowhere. Edison on the outside trying to get the win. And it's William Edison stealing it at the line.
Into the wall. The 18 trying to block. 77 to get into the 18. That leaves 3 of TJ Roberts. 17 to Gavin Rogers. 3 of TJ Roberts is going to steal the win here.
What second fiddle so many times last season. Christopher Wade wins the season 5 Daytona 200. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series, race number 10 of the season, as it is the Speed Shirt Labs 100 at the Charlotte Roval. Currently, some drivers have already made their pit stops, and Ryan Bird is our leader, but again, we've seen some pit, some haven't, and that's where the 46 lies. Is Cedric Hunter trying to get by the 7. Corey Ennis is 13, one of those drivers that still is yet to pit. But thank you again for joining us on your Saturday evening on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Trevor Earhart, Robert Moody Jr. running productions in the background. Trevor, I mean, it's hard to really look away from what Vinny's been doing, but I mean, the 15 is out of this world. Right before we went to commercial break, right when we went to commercial break, you told me about a couple of laps before that, Vinny put down the fastest lap of the race. And he is still putting down some burners.
Yeah, so, we've been debating. Do you take tires? Do you not take tires? Well, I want to say it was on lap 24, 25. Vincent Sora put in a 119.5, which was, I believe that was 0.3 quicker than what our pole time was. So definitely not worried about tire wear as that 15 machine of Vincent Sora. Now that he's made that pit stop, already back out there trying to run down Ryan Bird, who's yet to make that pit stop. Sam, he came out behind Ryan, but ahead of Zach Hall, Cedric Hunter, Christopher Norris. That's just how big of a gap that 15 machine had to the rest of the field.
And with how big that gap was, Vinny over the radio was then questioning. He was questioning people as we were away. We were able to listen in on some of the conversations, and he asked Zach blatantly, "Hey, are you saving?" And Zach said, "No, I just suck." So simple, blatant. And he just is saying the facts that it feels like Vinny's in a different world than everyone else, because if you look at the fastest times, Ryan Bird is the next fastest driver, but Vinny almost put down an even faster lap than his best before, a 19.6. This is crazy when you look at the lap times.
You're 34 laps in to a road course that's 17 corners. You got heavy braking zones, easy to slide the tires, lock up. Slide tires on corner exit, and he's been on the same set of tires, and he just ran a lap that was only a tenth slower than the best lap that he ran all race long. It's incredible to see the pace at which Vincent Sora has. Got a little bit of loose there off screen from what I saw, but as we're watching Brian Johnson, but that pace, Sam, is just incredible. As Ryan Bird made his pit stop, he falls back to 4th. That puts Zach Hall and Cedric Hunter up 1 spot, but they still have to make their pit stops. But Sora, I think, is just in a different league than everybody else here tonight. I think it might take some calamity that we saw there at Twin Ring Motegi to see anybody unseat this 15 machine here tonight.
Yeah, we might need a lot of issues to pop up. Is Rich Jameson able to get by James Hackworth, who just gets out of the way for oncoming traffic, as Brian P. Johnson got the pole, and that was the highest moment of the race for the 28. It did not start out well as he clobbered the turn 1 wall. Larry Yingling on the other side got to see that contact right before he took off from pit road. Allowed the 67 to be up to 6th place with hard work and just gliding his way forward. He might be questioning, where's one of the drivers that should be technically up to 8th or 7th at this point, of Aaron Krolick? Well, he, during commercial break, went off track onto a hard wreck and decided to call it a night as pit stops underway for the final 3 drivers. Zach Hall, Cedric Hunter, Christopher Norris, all coming in together, and all deciding to take just fuel only, as we'll see if Christopher Norris, if we're going to see the 38 take fuel or not.
Yeah, Norris pulls down into his pit box there. Stopped a little short in his pit box. It's kind of a rare one to see. Usually we see drivers go a little bit deep into their pit box, but Norris just a splash of fuel and back out there, same as he rejoins in a really kind of interesting rejoin, kind of similar to that of Daytona, the Daytona road course. You come out in the middle of a corner where it's easy to make contact with other drivers as they come around, but Norris with a nice clean pit exit there can get back and get back up to speed.
And to check out his new spec'd out scheme that he's been working on for the last couple of weeks and months, you could say, as, keeping it off the wall. Had a little bit of a fright there. Almost got the commentator's curse of us wanting to praise him. But Christopher Norris showing off his scheme using the brand new spec maps that iRacing has been putting on these cars, is working with also Trade-in Paints, and it's allowed these much shinier, glossier looking schemes to really pop out in the sun.
Yeah, they look really good. The blue, gray, and white that he's got going on really looking good in the daylight here around Charlotte, the Charlotte Roval, as he navigates through the backstretch chicane there and gets through NASCAR 3 and 4. And Sam, that's the fun part about iRacing is the spec maps that iRacing puts on these cars, and working in partner with Trading Paints that allows these drivers to come up with these really cool paint schemes that we see week in and week out.
They're always impressive to see as drivers continuously try to work to make better schemes for themselves. But talking about it, you said it, we're at the Roval, but in just that of a month and a half, we will be at the Oval here at Charlotte. It is our very own second of the year charity event. It's the Gamer Outreach 600, as the drivers that come in want to help out with a great cause get to race in the Gen 4 Cup cars for 400 laps, 600 miles here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, June 10th on a Saturday. The drivers, I know that we've already had some signing up. Trevor, you said you want to sign up and get involved with this race. It is one of the races that usually when I think about Charlotte and going for a full 600 miles, 400 laps, it seems like it might be too long of a race at times for myself. But man, I'm excited for it because we're going to be in the Gen 4 Cup cars.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. I've already signed up. I got to get my my donation in though, but definitely looking forward to it. Going to be grueling, especially in that Gen 4 Cup car with the horsepower that it produces and the lack of downforce. We're going to be slipping and sliding all night long, but it's going to be a fun race, and for such a great cause, definitely happy to be taking part in this one as a driver. But I think you and Zach are going to have a lot of fun up in the booth getting to call that one.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I know Zach is as well. If you'd like to be involved with that of our Gamer Outreach 600, either racing or just donating, go to our link in our chat, which will have to our community Discord, which will have all the information, as we just had our big old public post about it yesterday. But if you'd like to be involved, it's just like our Daytona 500 that we had earlier in the year. All you have to do is have a simple donation and as well sign up with your car and your scheme. They're on track as Vincent Sora is over a 12-second, almost 13-second lead with 3 laps to go, and we're down to just 7 cars on the lead lap. Trevor, I don't think it's possible, but Larry Yingling, if he slips up, could be our next victim to go a lap down.
Yeah, he's got about that of, I think, maybe 15-20-second gap back to Vincent Sora. But I mean, with the lap times that Vincent's running right now, I mean, it's possible that we might just see that of 6 cars left on the lead lap, and Christopher Norris not too far ahead of Larry. So if both of those drivers slip up here in the last 2.5 laps or so, we could see that of just 5 cars on the lead lap. But Vincent just got to get through these last 3 laps, get through what little lap traffic he's got in front of him without making any mistakes. He's got this one pretty well wrapped up.
And luckily for that of Vincent Sora, he's got a massive group of fresh air to work with. The next driver that would be in line would be Thomas Walter, who is just hitting the start-finish line now, as Vincent Sora is coming out of NASCAR turn 4 at this current moment. So it's a good gap that the drivers have in between one another. And as we're coming to 2 laps to go, this looks to be all Vincent Sora's race at this time, as 15. We thought maybe he could be held back, but after the lap 1 shenanigans that happened with Brian getting into the turn 1 wall, Ryan Bird not able to defend, it just turned into the Vinny show after just 1 single lap, and ever since then, he has been leading this race. As we're closing in to the end of tonight's adventure, thank you so much to everyone who's been watching tonight. Saturday, it's WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series. Next race for that of the Cup Series going to be next week as they head to the short track of USA Speedway, where it's going to be hard-nosed. Excited to see how the new damage model is going to react with the vehicles when they make contact with one another. Who could survive, because the short tracks for the WSSR have been some of the best racing you could ask for, and I'm excited for it. Trevor, as we're seeing Vincent Sora heading onto the backstretch of that of the chicane.
Yeah, going to the 3/4 of a mile USA Speedway there, and what like you were saying, Sam, not a track that we typically would see the next gen cup car on. You typically your street stocks or the super late models out there running. So it's gonna be fun to see how these guys navigate that track next week. It's really narrow, got a little bit of a wider turn 1 and 2 or wider corners than a Martinsville, but kind of race is the same as a Martinsville. So definitely one you don't want to miss next week is Vincent Sora on his final lap here.
As Vincent Sora on our Roasted Gems white flag, going to be 15, closing in on James Ackworth Jr. Ackworth Jr. has been willing to just get the car out of the way immediately when oncoming traffic is heading his direction. So not expecting this to be too tough of a task as Vinny is closing in. I think the more impressive feat, instead of the fact that we got that of 7 drivers left on the lead lap, is that only out of 11 of the drivers are left being just 1 lap down. As from 12th on back are 2 or more laps down. Vincent Sora has been climbing and flying as we hit the backstretch.
It's just been in cruise control all night long. Just has to get through 2 more chicanes. Gets through nice and easy. The backstretch chicane here gets a little bit of a slide there, but maybe just a little celebratory start of a drift here as he now works through NASCAR 3 and 4 coming into the final chicane before he sees that checkered flag and just has to take it nice and easy through here to collect the win here tonight as he gets on the brakes through the left-hand corner, a lot of curb, right-hand corner, a lot of curb, but that's going to be it. Vincent Sora with a little wiggle across the line, and he's going to win here tonight at the Charlotte Roval.
Redemption from that of the GP course. Matt Twin Ring Motegi, after being caught up, he was leading and wrecked by a lap car tonight. Lap cars avoided in the 15, able to get the win here tonight. Going to be his 4th of the season, and as well, going to get a free t-shirt from that of Speed Shirt Labs. Big shout out for being our track sponsor, as looking at the ticker, trying to see if there's any battles for positions. Currently not. And Vincent Sora gets to have his fun here this evening. He's going to just pace his way around this course, but still plenty of other drivers trying to just make it to the end of this race. As Trevor, what a run it was. 40 laps done and dusted at the Roval, and it's Vincent Sora with win number 4.
Yeah, just like you said, once we got through turn 1, I mean, it was the Vincent Sora show. Just nobody could really have anything for him. We thought Brian Johnson might have something for that 15 machine tonight. Just never really made it out of turn number 1 did Brian, but overall everybody did a really good job. We saw a lot of cars scattered throughout the track over the course of the night, but everybody did a good job keeping it out of the way of other drivers. And as everybody crosses the line, I mean, what more could you say from Vincent Sora? Just what a dominant performance to collect his 4th win of the season.
It's his win as Vincent Sora makes his way to his start-finish line. Going to have a fun show to burn it down. We will step aside when we come back. We're going to be talking to our top 3 and our spotlight driver, which is going to be the 28 of Brian P. Johnson. We'll get to talk to see how the 28's woes from lap 1 continued on. But as the 15 gets to burn it down, enjoy the smoke show as we come back in just a few moments for our post-race show. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for the post-race show of the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series. A big shout out to all the major sponsors that we have, from Roasted Gems Coffee. Go get your premium coffee today at roastedgems.com. Use the promo code WSSR for 5% off on all purchases. Same for Trophy Smack. You go over there and go get yourself a trophy, either a championship belt, a ring, trophy, or a wall smack to show off your celebrations, or if you'd like to show off someone else's miseries, go and get your Trophy Smacks today. For that, go use the promo code WSSR Cup, that's WSSR CUP, for 10% off on all purchases. As we head to Victory Lane, it's the 15 machine of Vincent Sora cruising on forward as he gets his 4th win of the season in a pretty dominant fashion. Vinny, it's Sam and Trevor up the booth. Congratulations on this win. I mean, from our point of view, it looked like it was pretty easy, but what was it like for yourself?
Well, I would have liked to have seen it a little bit closer for the win there. I would like to see Brian not make his mistake down in turn 1 on the first lap, which was really shocking. Kind of, I think, caught the whole field off guard. But yeah, it was a pretty calm race for the most part. Not really anything eventful except for that first lap. Lappers were pretty good, and I just kind of went out there and tried to keep the car clean. And I actually thought that Zach and Cedric were saving fuel, and I thought they might have been able to make it to the end there, but fortunately for my sake, they were not, and the race ended just how I wanted it to.
I mean, Vinny, we know that NASCAR or that iRacing changed the tire model up a little bit. We had heard that maybe taking tires was going to be advantageous on pit stops, but obviously tonight we saw you put in 2 of your fastest laps of the whole race, one right before your pit stop and one after that. I mean, tire wear still doesn't look like it's a thing out there. I mean, how are you feeling on those tires?
Yeah, tires aren't really a factor at all on the road courses in these cars. You don't take them on the pit stops, and you just don't need them. They don't really wear, so you can just kind of send it wherever you can and get the most life out of the tire that you can and not really suffer any consequences for them.
Well, the competition, we're expecting to ramp up a little bit more heading into next week. USA Speedway. Vinny, what are you expecting heading into the short track, trying to build that momentum up with the playoffs just right around the corner?
Uh, Hopefully not, but probably a lot of cautions next week and a lot of bumping and mad people, but hopefully a fun race. It's a short track, and I feel like that's kind of what I've excelled on here over in this league. So hopefully I can continue the trend of being good on the short tracks and get another one next week.
We're hoping for you to continue having great runs as well, Vinny. Congratulations on the win. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, just everybody for showing up tonight. We had a really good car count tonight. Kind of shocking for a road course. That was really good to see. So thanks to everybody that showed up. All of our league sponsors that make it possible. You guys at Freaky Fast Broadcasting for broadcasting. My team at Category 5 Esports. And yeah, I think that's about it.
Well, that's going to be the 15 machine of Vincent Sora from Sidewinders Motorsports, getting the 4th win of the season here for the Speed Shirt Labs 100 at the Roval. Congratulations, Vinny, and good luck next week.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.
As we go from Victory Lane, we had to 2nd place where Ryan Bird tried his best to keep close, but it just wasn't enough. Ryan, it's Sam and Trevor up at the booth. I mean, you come away 2nd, which, I mean, in some fashions, you could say that was a success with how fast Vinny was.
Yeah, that's the most demoralizing 2nd place I've ever had in my life. He was just on another level all night.
I mean, Ryan, what was your race like out there? Obviously, really no pressure from Zach, but you kept it close there to Vincent for the first 10 or so laps. So just what were you feeling throughout the course of the night here tonight?
Yeah, the first 5 laps I was just sending it, trying to keep up with Vinny, but I felt like I was gonna crash any corner running that pace. I couldn't do it for 40 laps. So I don't know. I ran my personal best like a 20 flat or something, and the same lap he ran 4/10 faster than me. And I was like, well, I'm just gonna back it down and hope he wrecks eventually. Frankly, that's all I could do at that point.
Well, Ryan, still looking great points-wise, going away with 2nd place finish. We then head to USA Speedway next week before the playoffs. How are you feeling like next week might prepare you for the playoffs, or are you already thinking, all right, let's just get through this and let's start thinking for the future?
I love that track, so hopefully it'll be a good one for me. But it's nice to finally I feel like all season I've had speed and not had the results to show for it. So it's nice to be up here for the right reasons. Finally, heading into the playoffs. Hopefully, turning it around at the right time here.
We certainly hope that you're going to be a threat, Ryan. Congratulations with second. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shoutouts.
Yeah, thank you to my teammates Tom and Kyle Rochelle, Late Apex as a whole. Shout out to my girlfriend, Tattoos by Polly, everyone that on the admin team here that puts these on every week, gives us somewhere to race on a Saturday, and shout out to you broadcasters. Thank you guys.
Well, thank you for putting on a great show there, Ryan. Congratulations on second once again, and good luck next week.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, from second place, let's go to third position, where Zach Hall. Let's get his thoughts on how this race went down. Zach, it's Sam and Trevor up at the booth. This race, it's going to be a road course. You finally got to at least try at a road course, but how are you feeling coming away with the third after the runs of the drivers ahead of you?
Just happy to get third personally. I mean, it was a tough night. Struggles from the 42 team. I mean, that's, it's tough to say when you struggle when you finish third, but 26 seconds back's not where I want to be at a road course, especially. I don't know. I haven't had a good feel with the next gen car lately here at the road course, and especially the Roval. This is, in my opinion, one of my worst ones. So, but to come out of third and not have any major mistakes to knock me out of the race and give up that points that I had coming into it, it was still a good step forward.
It was like you have that points lead trying to be the regular season champ. We go to USA Speedway next week for the last race before we get to the playoffs. I mean, how are you feeling going into USA Speedway next week?
Very confident, actually. I have been preparing for that race, trying to get ready, and I think the short tracks have actually been somewhat of my strong suit this season, and we expect to be strong there. So hopefully we run good. I mean, I got a 16-point gap going into that race, so I don't need to do anything crazy, but I mean, I have a lot I'm willing to risk too, just because of how big that gap is. So it's going to be going for another win. I mean, it's just about building momentum for when the playoffs start and we reset everything, and from there, it's going to be anybody's game.
Well, Zach, we can't wait to see how that performance is going to go. Before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shoutouts.
Well, first off, shout out to the sponsor here tonight. It's Speed Shirts Labs. That's Bob Skinner out there, a great dude out here at races, and great to have him sponsor a race like this. And go check them out on their Facebook group. Also, shout out to you guys up in the booth for doing the excellent job week in and week out. And then last but not least, shout out to all our sponsors out there. Trophy Smack for being one of the best sponsors out there. Use code WSSR Cup to get 10% off with them. And then our title sponsor, Roasted Jim's Coffee. Make sure you use code WSSR. Check out for them to get 5% off. So thank you to them. And thanks, guys, for the wonderful night.
Well, thanks, Zach, for joining with us. That's the 42. Zach Hall coming away with third place finish. And good luck, Zach, next week.
Thanks, guys.
Well, from our interviews, let's get ready to take a look at our unofficial results here tonight, because Vincent Sora, I mean, we know where he finished. He was the most dominant driver of the night, cruising away. Ryan Bird tried his best. Zach Hull in third. The rest of the field, a little unknown, as it was shaking up late with drivers having mistakes, pit stops as well being thrown around. And it's going to be that of the 13 of Cedric Hunter coming away with that fourth place position, and trophy also going to be that of in fifth place going to be Tom Sinchek. Christopher Norris going to be in sixth. Seventh going to be Larry Yingling, and eighth will be Brandon Colley, with Rich Jameson ninth, and 10th going to be Tyler Dangler. As we get those final results up, as we Trevor, I mean, certainly a night where some drivers wishing for this night to be over as soon as possible, and others glad that they got the finishes that they got.
Yeah, I mean, you look down there, Rich Jameson, Tyler Dangler, Thomas Walter, they all had great runs, up 8 spots for Rich, 9 spots respectively for Tyler and Thomas Walter. Jonathan Cogswell down there in 12th had a great run, up 10 spots from where he started. Corey Ennis, we saw him have some off-track issues, along with Ryan Crowfoot. They're both down there, 13, 14. Bob Skinner with a good run, up 6 spots. We talked to him at the start of the race, said he was going to be nice and easy and gets a good top 15 finish for himself. But then you got Brian Johnson, Sam, our pole sitter, down there in 17th, 8 laps down after we saw him go into the turn 1 wall and break a toe link on the first lap. Kyle Rochelle with some issues in 19th. Martin Morales, we saw him have some off-track issues. And Aaron Kralik, I mean, who was running inside our top 10 most of the night before he had his last little spin that took him out of contention all the way down there in 21st.
Plenty of different incredible runs, disappointments, but this right here, start of the race. Crazy to think of it, Trevor. This is going to be our wall smack moment of the race because this changed everything. Where Brian P. Johnson had the pull, took off, but turn one, not his friend.
Yeah, just carried. It looks like he just tried to carry a little bit too much speed into turn number one. Got in there, the brakes got locked up on him, and just slides it into the heartburn turn wall. There you see it just start to break loose on him, and there's just no saving it from there. Tries to get it locked up, but as you see here, just nice little slide into the wall, and that allowed Ryan Bird to get by. This is the hard contact for your wall smack moment of the race, but that allowed Ryan Bird to get by and Vincent Sora to get to the inside of Ryan Bird, and that was pretty much the race from there, Sam.
And pulling away, Vincent Sora from third to the lead, and that would be the winning pass as he never looked back for the 15 of Vincent Sora. Continued to pull away, continued into victory lane. Well, a big thank you to everyone that showed up here tonight, to you the fans as well as to the drivers. If you'd like to see more great racing coverage throughout the week, well, it starts Monday night. From Monday to Thursday, great coverage. The ISRC Truck Series on Monday, the full Send Racing Series with the trucks on Tuesday. Wednesday's the Wicked Racing League and the Next Gen Cup cars. And then it's ARCA machines running on Thursday. Some in playoffs, others right around the corner of the playoffs. And then we're right back here Saturday night for some more WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series action. Trevor, any final thoughts before we get ourselves out of here?
I mean, what a race we had here tonight, Sam. I mean, Vincent Sora just dominated it always at the road courses, trying to build as much momentum as he can to get his third championship of the season before we get to the playoffs. But one more week to go, USA Speedway, and one that I don't think you're going to want to miss. So make sure you tune in next week to see the bumping and banging as we see drivers try to get into the cut line. Zach Hall try to hold on for the regular season championship, and what other chaos that we might see at USA Speedway.
The points about to get updated on who's in, who's out. Steven Stimpian, because of not showing up here tonight, he's now bounced out of the top 16. Thomas Walter now takes his position. Bob Skinner just 2 points out. Looking at the points, 15th all the way down to 18th in points, just within 15 together. So anyone could be bounced out. Who could be placed in? You're going to want to be right here next Saturday for the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series as they head to USA Speedway. Plenty of great action. We cannot wait for it. But our next Freaky Fast broadcast, Monday night, ISRC Truck Series, as they finish out their next round of the playoffs. Who's in, who's out? We'll see you then on our next Freaky Fast broadcast.